So guys, I have literally just woken up. I thought I'd do like a full day of eating, well, just kind of covering everything that I consume as opposed to just food. The last video you saw was a full day of eating on a training day. Today is a rest day. I wasn't going to film much because there's not much going on, other than I've got a lot of work to do just for my job. But I thought I'd just show you the difference between a rest day and a training day. There has been a food adjustment. My calories have always been a bit low on a rest day anyway, but they've also been reduced yesterday, I think, by 100 calories extra. So I just thought I'd show you a full day of eating. The first thing I do when I wake up, which is why I'm recording myself now, is 1.5 litres of water with a gram of low salt and a gram of salt. There's also a bit of blackcurrant squash in there that I don't track before any of you ask me. It's sugar free. And then I also have, which you just saw at the start of the video, a coffee. And then what I'll do is I'll literally have that coffee in that water whilst I'm on my indoor treadmill. I was going to go outside for a walk and like record the intro to the video there, but it's pitch black and it looks cold and I'm quite bothered. So you get my kitchen again instead. I'm in an absolute state at the moment. I apologise for the dirty dressing gown. Like I said, I've literally just woken up. Luckily I've had my hair like shaved off because the state of my hair last week when it was growing, if I didn't do anything with it, was horrendous. Now it's just a shorter version of a mess instead, which is a bit easier to manage. So yeah, it's literally just the water and the coffee that I have. I have about 6 to 8 litres of water a day. I don't track it too strictly. I just make sure I get at least 4 of them in, really. I don't really aim to do that. It just happens. The only time I aim to get water in is in the morning, like now, where I'm not that thirsty, I'm not that hungry, but I'll just make sure I get that in. The blackcurrant makes it easier. It makes it like drinkable. It makes you want to drink it. And then I'll also have a vitamin C, 2 cod liver oils, and a vitamin D and a K3. And that's it for my supplements. Oh, and creatine. That's it. That's all I have for my supplements. People go a bit overboard with the ashwagandha and, well, there's loads of things you can have, but they all have a role to play. I just don't really find much benefit on most things other than these on a rest day and then a pre-workout on a training day. But that's it. With these steps, I'll probably go for about 3,000. My daily amount at the moment has been increased from 10,000 to 11,000. Like I said, I won't go higher than 15,000 on a rest day, probably about 12,000 on a training day. Ideally, no higher than 12,000 on both days, but I think that's a bit optimistic. So yeah, I'll do 3,000 now, then I'll have my first meal, and yeah, catch you guys then. So guys, it's only been a couple of seconds for yourselves, but it's been about 2.5, 3 hours here. I ended up doing them steps, about 3,000, like I said I was going to, or half an hour, whatever that works out to be. And then, I've got loads of work to do, and I always record these videos, not on the weekend, but on like any days off that I get where I've got loads of my own work to do. By days off, I mean days off my actual like standard job. So I thought I'd just crack on with a chunk of that, and I ended up getting carried away for about an extra, well, I thought it'd be 10 minutes, but it ended up being an hour and a half. And then I did some more steps as well. What I do when I do them steps in the morning, I mean, everyone, you can do whatever you want. Some people are happy just to go on Instagram and go on YouTube, whatever they want. I feel a bit guilty if first thing in the morning I'm just sitting there scrolling through social media for like half an hour. So what I will do is I will respond to clients. If clients have sent check-ins across, I will get their check-in notes like ready. I won't record the check-in, obviously. And then if there's no like coaching work to do, I will just go on my normal emails or my work emails and just see if there's anything I need to like, or any glaring tasks I need to sort out, or that I know I'll be sorting out that day, so today. Luckily today there's not much additional things to add. All clients have been responded to. I've got no check-ins today on a Tuesday, but then I have got a lot more like actual work to do. So me and Faye, like last week, are going to go to Cafe Nero. Like I said, it seems to be like a Groundhog Day. We do this like maybe once a week. It just ends up being the day that I tend to record because I've got a bit of extra, well, spare time to do this stuff. I also edit the videos on the morning steps as well, which I forgot to mention. So meal number 1 is a skier bowl. It's very similar, and you'll see this like with all my meals that I've got across the day. They're very similar to what I was having in the off season, just with a few like simple food swaps. The initial drop in calories that I had from the bulk to the diet was just like food volume. I was eating quite a lot, so it was quite easy to do. It was quite a nice welcome change. Now that obviously I've been in the diet for a little bit longer, the amount of satiety that I'm getting from food isn't as high. So I'm actually getting a bit hungrier than I was at the end of the off season, which is normal. I kind of want that, it's quite nice. So instead of reducing the food volume more, I've got the same amount of skier, same amount of berries, same amount of apple. The oats they're about half what they were in the off season. They're about 30 grams there. Everything's on the screen, obviously. In the off season, they were getting up to 50 grams, sometimes 100 grams in these bowls. I also had a lot of honey in the off season. It was getting to about 30 grams of honey. There's no honey now. There was 10 grams last week, but that's one of the reductions I've made in the last week. And then 10 grams of peanut butter as well. So it's a bit of a change to the last one. Oh, and there's 10 grams of dates. You can probably see the tiny amount of dates there. It's 15 grams of dates, sorry. But they got up to like near 100 in some meals in the off season. Basically in the off season, I just wanted to focus on like high quality carb sources. as much as possible, but it ended up having to go to like simple sugars like honey and dates eventually, which there's far worse things I could have eaten. This is probably my second biggest meal of the day on a rest day. I know some people like fast in the morning for ages, have the small meals. I quite like having a bit of food in the morning. When I'm working in my normal job, I can't go completely fasted. I'm just not the best person to be around. I'm not moody, I'm just not the most present, and I need that in my job. So I like to feel like I'm not dieting when I'm working. And then my lunch meal in work now, which you'll see as my meal 3 today, is tiny. So I don't mind having a small meal in work. I just want to make sure that I'm going to work not feeling like I'm dieting, if that makes sense. Obviously, it'll get to the point when my food gets low enough, I probably will have to have a smaller meal in the morning, just protein fats, we'll see. But for now, we've got the yogurt bowl. I'll have 5 meals today. One of them is literally just a protein shake, but I will be having a bit of fruit with it today, as you'll see, because meal 4 I normally have with Faye, as you guys saw. The last video was steak, I think. Steak and chips last time. This one was meant to be salmon and new potatoes. I always have salmon on a rest day, or I try to. Or eggs on something, basically a healthy fat sauce. But we're not having it today. We've got to go out the house again to phase on another driving lesson. It's like a repeat of last video, isn't it? But because we'll be home late, we'll probably get some food out, which a lot of people don't do in a diet. But I'll show you the kind of things that I get when I eat out. When I'm in an off season, I'm not that strict with food when I eat out with family and friends. I just enjoy myself and loosely track if I can. On a diet, I like to be diligent. You've got to remember that a diet is very temporary. For me, it's literally about 8 weeks, up to 10 maximum. So it's just kind of getting the job done, and then I can enjoy food afterwards. So the food that I have out today will be very trackable, but I'll show you that. I'll bring it home and we'll have it here. But yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this, and I'll catch you guys for the next meal. So guys, we're back in the car now. I've just been to Nero to do our work. I didn't record anything in there because it was just really busy today. It's a lot busier than normal, wasn't it?
It was very busy. There was a whole row of people on computers and stuff.
Yeah, we've got like proper students, even though we're like 60 years old. So I did have a meal as well. Actually, I recorded the meal. I'll put like an overlay of the meal that I had here. I say a meal, it's literally a protein shake, a punnet of blueberries, and 10 grams of dark chocolate. So it wasn't really a meal, it's like a protein serving. I was going to have my meal, but I thought I'd wait a bit longer because I wasn't that hungry, and I was in like a good state of just doing work, so I just kind of had the smaller meal. We're on the way to Bangor now to take Faye for her driving lesson of the week. I'll have another meal when I drop her off, so I'll show you guys that. It's very similar to the one you saw on the training day actually last time, just a lot smaller already, because it's been, out of all the, because of a 100 calorie reduction, it's that pasta meal that I have that's taken the hit. So you'll see it's quite sad looking. And then we had a coffee. It was a very nice coffee, and then we actually got another coffee on the way out, which wasn't a very nice coffee, and we've decided to share it. So that's 2.5 coffees I've had today, which is a bit cheeky. And then with this, someone asked on my Instagram the other day whether I count the milk. On my meal 1, you just seen I did count milk, and I don't know why. I always do for my morning coffee, I always count the milk. After that, when I have a coffee, I don't count the milk, because I don't think...
Makes so much sense. Counting it for one drink and not the others.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense, does it? But I think it's as well, like, if I don't lose weight or I don't get lean, it's not because I had a splash of milk in my coffees. I mean, if you're having loads of lattes or things like that, or mochas and that, then you obviously count it. But if you're having a bit of milk, like literally like 50 to 80 mil per coffee, up to twice a day, that isn't the reason why you're fat. And you know, you're fat because of the croissant you've got on the side. Do you guys have milk in your coffee? Is it better black? I don't know. Everyone's different. And it's like a controversial, really enthralling debate, you know. Is black coffee better? Obviously it's not. Whoever drinks black coffee, I think you said it once when you were younger, like... You're
either American or you're a psychopath.
That's so true. Like, anyone that drinks black coffee has to meet one of them criteria, or they think they're going to get fat by having 50 ml of milk, and they're not. So don't punish yourself. Enjoy an actual coffee. But anyway, we're on the way to Bangor now. Yeah, see you in a bit. We've already recorded this clip, and the camera was facing the wrong way. Well, it's recorded on the front camera on the phone, which is very frustrating.
It was a lovely view,
but
though.
It was a nice view of what we were looking at. But we're actually saying that we're early phase driving lessons, so we've come for a walk, and it's only just now that the wind stopped. It's been like really windy, and we've both been in a mood with our hoods up, but we've got to walk in. It's still quite nice little area. And then what I did go on to say was kind of give a main tip about dieting for those of you that are struggling, and that's hunger. And there's lots of advice and tips people give to kind of make you, or help you manage hunger. So as you guys could tell, that last clip got pretty windy, so this is now the 3rd time I'm recording it. If I remember, I'll put in the background some of the like B-roll footage of the rest of the walk. I didn't record much. It was cold and it was windy, so I think Faye got a bit of footage of some really happy pigeons, so if she did, I'll stick that in the background as well whilst I waffle on. As I was saying, there is some tips and tricks everywhere really about how to manage hunger and that sort of thing during a diet or a prep, and a lot of them have warrant. You know, the biggest ones being eating enough protein, enough fibre, drinking enough water, using artificial sweeteners as and when needed. And they all have warrant and they all do help. The alternative of hitting your macros with junk food, it will work and you will reach the same body composition, but it'll be a lot harder to stick to and you'll feel like absolute crap. So, you know, the foods are less voluminous, junk foods, and they're made, or they're created so you're like wanting to eat more. They're made to be addictive. So try and limit them as much as possible if you are struggling in a diet. But there comes a certain point in a diet where you will just be hungry. Like I find it with myself, even like early on the diet, like now I'm like a week and a half into my diet, I already feel like at some points during the day, like now, I just feel a bit hungry, and it's just accepting that. Yes, you can volumize your foods as much as possible, and you can try and, you know, do all these tactics to help you reduce hunger. But at some point you're going to be hungry. You're in a calorie deficit, like you're supposed to be a bit hungry, and it's just embracing it and being fine with it. Sometimes it's quite nice to feel hungry because you know you're in a deficit, like it's like weird psychological switch. I quite like feeling hungry. Again, I don't want to be hungry all day because I get a bit grumpy, and I don't want to be hungry before bed because I can't sleep. But besides that, I don't mind being a bit hungry. I don't like the fatigue that comes with long-term diets and that sort of thing, but that's a separate story. So the tip I want to say is really just embrace the hunger. As long as you're eating generally healthy most of the time, high fibre, high protein, then you're already going to have implemented most of the food hacks like volume in that anyway. Trying to volumize your foods more than that will just increase food focus. So going silly with the amount of artificial sweeteners you're having and like fake foods you're having to satisfy hunger, like sugar-free jelly, that's the one I always bring up with people. It'll just increase your food focus because your body will get used to them nice, highly palatable foods, and it won't be satisfied with what you're giving it because it will eventually realise that they're just fake calories or no calories in them. Speaking of which, actually, my next meal is what you saw last week. It looks really poverty today because it's been shaped around in my bag. It's chicken, pasta, peas, and actual peppers this time. I don't know if you can see it really. The chicken I cover with herbs and that, and the peppers are somewhere in the back there. They're from a jar because I can't be bothered cooking them. I just make sure to rinse them. I do track them with a bit of oil as well, as you'll see in the macros here. The pasta is now on 30 grams. This is a really poverty meal. Now, if I replace that pasta with potato, would it be more satiating? Yeah, it would be a little bit. But the amount of potato I'd get for the amount of calories that this pasta gives, like 100 calories, 120 calories, it wouldn't provide me that much more satiation, if that makes sense. It might make me a little bit fuller for an extra 5-10 minutes, but I'm going to be hungry again. So I just kind of accepted that. I'd rather have this 30 grams of pasta, which just makes the dried chicken, because it's been in the fridge for a couple of days now, it'll just make that dried chicken a little bit nicer, a little bit easier to eat. That's why I've got the pasta, just to make the chicken easier to eat. My next macro adjustment will probably be about 100 calories anyway, and that will come out of this meal because this meal is the furthest away from my workout normally. Train first thing in the morning. This meal's like later on in the day, well, later on in the afternoon. My later meals are my pre-workout meal. So this is like the meal I need carbs in the least, if that makes sense. So that's why I still got pasta, just to make the chicken nicer, and it's not to make me feel full or satisfied anyway, because it really, really won't. When this pasta goes, I'll probably increase the veg by quite a bit. But again, not going silly with it, just getting a healthy amount of veg in. But yeah, that's literally this meal, the smallest meal of the day. Well, smallest meal of the day. The last meal wasn't really a meal, was it? And then me and Faye will have a bit of a takeaway later on, which I'll show you. But for now, I'm going to enjoy this meal and catch you in a bit. So guys, we are finally home. We ended up being a lot later than we thought. It's now just gone 5 o'clock. We thought we'd be home by like, I don't know, 4, half 4. But we've got the goods, we've got the takeaway. I say takeaway, but I'm quite happy actually because we don't have to cook salmon now. Because if we had to cook salmon now, I wouldn't eat till like an hour before my final meal, so it would have been a bit too close together. And then when we got home, we got caught up with the roofer chatting away, so our food's gone cold, so we might have to stick it in the air fryer quickly or something. Or microwave. We'll see. The food is here, that's paper. So you probably guessed, these here are pita breads, and the food itself is literally chicken shish kebab. So there's cabbage, onion and lettuce in there. Faye has tomatoes in hers. With the kebab, as you can see, it's chicken breast with a like marinade on it, like a yogurt-based marinade. It's not much marinade on there, so the calories are quite low. I just estimate like 3 to 5 grams of olive oil just to make up for the fats. The pita breads are literally ones that you get from the supermarket. Pop it in there. There we are. So quite low calorie. I put the calories on the screen for what I estimate. As for the sauce, don't ask for sauce when you get takeaway because it's never going to be low calorie. It's going to be high sugar and really, really tasty because that's their goal. When you do ask a plane, they kind of like ask you, are you sure? Like you're some weirdo. And obviously I am. So we've got some Nando's sauce. I've just realised it's the vegan one. No offence to vegans, but I'm hoping it's still okay. This or low-fat mayo are the best. The reason why this is good is because it's basically got the same amount of calories as low-fat mayo. So I'm going to throw it all together. I probably won't take a picture of it because I'm absolutely starving. and then we'll sit down and watch some more of Breaking Bad because we're rewatching that. And then we're almost finished actually, one season, or final season, like halfway through. So any TV suggestions, like you guys always do, please
Not
just
on Disney Plus.
Not on Disney Plus, like Faye always says. But yeah, just stick them in the comments below, it'd be really helpful. And the main reason for these like takeaways in my dieting phases is, for one, it just kind of gives you a bit of a break from cooking, a bit of like stress mentally as well. But it's also, the main reason is because it's nice for other people that you're with, that you can eat a bit more socially. So even though me and Faye have a meal most nights, she likes having a takeaway. So she could have got whatever she wanted from the kebab place that we went to. We ended up getting chicken kebabs each. Faye eats quite healthy anyway. But if she wanted to get a burger or pizza and that, because she's not dieting, then she obviously could have. So it's just like a nice break for them as well. Just keeps it a bit more social. The sauce here, it's actually not bad. I don't think it's as nice. No, it's not as nice as the original one. And it's quite a bit spicier for a mild sauce. Although I'm a wimp. So that kebab was really nice. It's a bit too nice for like the calories that I estimated originally. Did you enjoy the kebab? I think yours was a bit dry, wasn't it? Mine wasn't, mine was perfect. But the salad itself was nicer than a salad should be. So I reckon it was quite like soggy as well, so I reckon it had oil in it. So what I've done is, I've literally just put in like, I think 10 or 12 grams of olive oil into my Fitness Basically, I've just over-assumed the calories on that kebab. I say kebab, it's literally just chicken breast and a bit of bread. I've overestimated about 100 calories just to play it safe. Worst case scenario is I haven't had enough calories today, but when it comes to like 100 calories or so, I'd rather be on the side of caution, especially when I'm so early on the diet. Training performance won't be affected. My last meal, which you probably all guessed anyway, is, as always, it's my oats. It's just been finished in the microwave now. All the macros and that fruit will be here. That's it for the full day of eating. Literally, the main reason I wanted to film today was just to show you what I eat on a rest day. The main take homes are my last 2 meals are the highest calorie or highest carb. The chicken kebab meal ideally would be a little bit less fat, a little bit more carb, but when it happens like once every 2 or 3 weeks, it's not a big deal. Overall calories are the same, overall protein's the same. But protein's split across the day like it always is. The biggest 2 meals are pre-bed for my workout tomorrow. Other than that, my first meal, as you saw, was also quite big as well. And that's just because I prefer to have a larger meal first. When my calories come down, it'll be that first meal that probably comes down next, unfortunately. But it is what it is. The total calories for the day will be here. Thank you guys for watching. If there's anything in particular you want to see, just let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, that's the end of the video. Like I said, any questions, ask below in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll keep documenting the rest of the series. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.